Okay, so today we have the last and the final session. We'll be open to discussions and things like that also in between and at the end. Till that time, we'll go slowly, so that we understand the momentum of what we are going to cover. What we are going to cover is basically, I think there is some confusion, and definitely you would have confusion. We need to understand scorecard. So I have created some sort of a research-based input which would validate what I'm saying. Plus, either I would show it to you now, a format, or else I'll show it to you subsequently. So we need to understand scorecards, even though we may not be able to use them directly at the moment, because it's very extensive. It uses a lot of statistical tools and things like that. But we'll definitely do it, and it's been appearing in a lot of your question papers in the past. Next is we are going to do with training strategy. Again, this has been featured in many papers, including paper number 1. So either as an impact or as a suggestion or as steps or as pages, something or the other has been coming in training strategy. We have multiple linkages to the word strategy. We have dealt with HR strategy, we have dealt with training strategy, we have dealt with organizational strategy. So it could come in variety of formats as far as your questions are concerned. We would then cover strategic organizational change, because we need to understand what the organizations are going through, not just during COVID, even after COVID. So that part of the change management, also that input or that module we'll be doing. And of course, the most favorite and the most complex of most of us would be organizational development or OD interventions. Intervention is something which you are going to do to create some sort of an impact, or to do something better, or to enhance your performance, or to see that there is a guided approach in seeing that the delivery levels are optimum. Of course, we'll do a bit of course review, and we'll have some part of the old question paper solving, and of course, we'll have certain tips on answering and managing with case studies. So this will be sort of the session outcomes which we'll try to deal with. Kindly understand whatsoever is the strategy. Please understand this last session today is being focused more on how to answer your questions in the examinations. So whatsoever will be the question, whether it is HR strategy, talent strategy, training strategy, organization strategy, business strategy, transformation strategy, I think we could pick up cues from this sort of slides. We could just customize it and we could do it, because everywhere the features are more or less common. Organizations should be consistent in achieving their strategic goals. When you talk about strategic goals, it could be departmental, it could be functional, it could be modular, it could be operational, it could be related to a specific project, whatsoever. So whenever you talk about any of these things, whether it is a small organization, a medium-sized organization, or a huge format of an organization, these basic 5 principles remain common. So if you're able to capsulate this in your mind when you're elaborating on your answer, that would be something very nice and great. The first thing is mobilizing change through leadership, because we need to understand all strategies have an alignment with the target or with the goal or with the objectives which you need to achieve. So you need to have a leadership which buys in, which accepts, which deliberates, which collaborates, and then finally you are able to crystallize. You may have time span, you may have time schedules, you may have various sort of phases of the whole project as such, but you will need to do all those things gradually. So you need to mobilize a change through leadership. So the right amount of leadership or the right connect is required with the amount of change. The change has to be very vibrant, it has to be agile, and it has to be a thought provoking, thought leading leadership. We need to translate their strategy into operational terms. Kindly understand, strategy is nothing but making things operational. You may have a beautiful storyboard, you may have a beautiful dashboard, but without results, without performance, without delivery, without the right set of a culture within the organization, through our inputs coming in together to form one fabric, is basically making it operational. Because kindly understand, friends, we are here to mean business. We are not here to do charity. So we need to understand that very specifically. aligning the organization with the strategy. We need to go one step forward. We need to evolve. We need to do something very different if the strategy demands. You cannot think of what you have been doing in the past. You need to align with what is happening or what needs to be done in the future. So the strategy has to be concurrent, it has to be rapid, it has to be evolving, it has to be dynamic. So all of us, irrespective of our profiles, we need to connect with the concept of the strategy and go beyond. Motivate to make strategy everybody's business. We talk one language. One language is my personal interest, your personal interest, our personal interest. So basically that Shah Rukh Khan wala feature will come here. Main hu na, hum hai na. So we need to have the strategy being everyone's business. Govern to make a strategy a continual process. You might have changes, you may need some amount of amendment, you may need to go in slightly on a different mode, you may need to change your time span, you may need to tweak your budget a bit, you may need to have a change in the consistency of your present teams. All those things could happen on a very continuous basis where you will be impacting with two specific things. One is performance and one is profits. So these two things, including a linkage with people, that's all of us, will make a lot of difference. Now we go on to, let's do some flipping of cards. I would like to position some of this to you all, or I would like to ask some of you all what these areas are. Kindly understand all these areas which are put on the flip cards. Your flip cards, you're able to see 6 flip cards. It's basically a game, and it's basically some sort of a quiz which you could understand and deliberate upon. All these areas have appeared in the past question paper. So I thought we would have a flip card. I'm not going to reveal what's under the flip card as of now. I'm going to take answers from each of y'all, or your viewpoints, or your enablement on what you understand by the word, what is displayed on the different flip cards. So let's go on to the first word, OD. When you talk about OD, the broad hint which I'm going to give is organizational development. Anyone would like to try or answer what is organizational development? Yes, friends. What is organizational development?
Sir, in this, the management thinks the market conditions and the potential of the organization, try to bring harmony so that the best performance is brought to meet
Yes,
the company.
Very good, very good. Rakesh rightly says that it is basically understanding the market situations, aligning our performance to match or reach a specific level. That's basically what organizational development is about. We need to meet, escalate, align, or go on that slightly higher level to connect with the word organizational development. Yes, any other inputs coming in?
Sir,
yes,
can
Razia.
I add?
Yeah, please.
So,
please.
yeah. So basically, according to me, I think it is an there is a Japanese technique which is known as Kaizen,
Yes.
which is again it's known as a continuous improvement.
Yes.
So it is like when a organization reaches its goal, and then again that when reaching that goal, it's like again a restarting point from them for them to again to reach to the another level. So it is a continuous improvement.
Okay.
Which leads to an organizational development to the to the next level.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you. Very nice. I mean, Rakeshji and Razia, you all have given excellent inputs. It's basically re-engineering or bringing in some sort of a change or bringing in agility or matching the tone of the organization as per the current requirement. So let's open this flip card so that we are able to understand what we are talking about. It is just like, right, what Rakesh said and what Razia said, using of organizational resources. When we talk about resources, taking a hint back from the area of economics, which we did many years back in college, and of course we are putting it into practice at our workplaces. What are the resources which we have? Anyone would like to answer? What resources do we use in the organization?
Sir, man, material, money.
Very good. Yes.
Man, material, money, and there are actually
okay. So
can I
help you, Razia? Yes.
Yes, machine.
Idea, sir.
idea. So you can have the basic framework would include the four: land, labor, capital, and enterprise. But of course, things like idea, finance, strategies, action plans, all could be, considered. Even budget could be considered, in different formats or different mannerisms or different frameworks to improve the efficiency and
Sir,
productivity of the workplace or in the workplace. So
sir,
that's basic.
after this IT intervention, the idea has become the greatest. Like you see the Facebook, all other things follow the idea.
Correct, correct, correct. It's basically a movement. You create a movement and things start happening. You start creating a brand value by aligning on the social media, like you rightly said, Rakesh ji. So in fact, I have seen that LIC has also grown to leaps and bounds, not just because of the quality, but because of the visibility and because of many other things, because of the engagement and going that extra mile. You made it very seamless. When we compare organizations now, I mean, understanding the feature of your working and your contributions to LIC, it's a great thing. I mean, complete transformation has happened where we have seen it to be in a very vibrant mode, more proactive and more customer reaching, and that outreach is phenomenal. So that's basically what we're talking. Exactly, organizational development is happening. The next word which we are going to go ahead with is the CVP. What is the CVP? You want me to expand on that word so that you get an idea?
See this cost, volume, profit.
No. Do you want me to expand?
Position.
Do you want me to expand? Just give you the linkage so that you can deliberate on that.
Yes, sir. Customer
Okay.
value position.
It is the customer value proposition, because kindly understand we have got just one feature, whatsoever your industry might be, whether it is pharma, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is services, hospitality, e-commerce, logistics, consulting. There is one funda which is common: keeping the customer in the loop, keeping the customer happy, serving the customer, understanding the doctrine of customer Dev Bhava, Atiti Dev Bhava or Atiti Pujya. So we have got absolutely no choice. So to create that value, we need to do something continuously. We need to rejig our mission statements. We need to redo or revisit or change our mission statement, vision statement, our credo, the way we look, refocus upon our brand, add value, continuously making it an impact on the customer and other stakeholders in the loop. So that's basically the value, customer value, and the proposition. मैं आपको क्या दे सकता हूँ? So when we talk about my basically means me and my organization. I represent my organization, whatever level I am from, whether I'm a peon right up to the CEO or the chairman, managing director, whoever is a salaried employee, directly or indirectly proposes or adds value to the customer value. Now, can I take some suggestions on this, please?
Sir, I just want to add, can we say, because a customer is a king, so
Yes.
we have to actually basically understand the customer's buying behavior always,
Yes. Yes.
and always coming up with creativity and innovation.
You're right. I mean, just give me a minute. There's some phone. Fine. Yes, you're right. Absolutely. I'm just taking a phone call, so just give me a minute, please. Yes, thank you so much. I thought possibly it would be some student waiting at the door or something like that and not able to come, but no, it was someone else and the call got disconnected. Absolutely fine. So yes, anyone would like to add?
Sir, it is the central focus for any organization,
Yes,
based on
Sahu.
which all other strategies are to be formulated.
Yes, so strategies need to be formulated, changed, they need to be very dynamic, they need to be very customer oriented. Yes.
Sir, with example, if we go that ordinary mail to Hotmail and Hotmail to Facebook, so there is a value proposition for the individual, and without promotion, people are running towards that.
Very nice, very nice. So when you create a Facebook page or you create some sort of a poster or some sort of a display or some sort of a engagement on the social media platform, automatically you're raking in a lot of likes, a lot of blogs coming in, and a lot of features being added to that. So it's basically nothing but a simple statement that summarizes why that summarizes why a customer would choose your product or service. So that's basically what CVP is all about. Next, we go on to the term. This has also come in the question papers. The word is SWOT. SWOT. We need to do a deep analysis. It could be possible on the personal front. It could be possible on various areas, departments, sections, organization, themes, strategies, whatsoever. So anyone would like to try on this? What?
Sir,
Sir,
it's a
Yes,
technique
Mansi.
to
Yes, Mansi.
analyze. It's a technique to analyze the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and trends. It can be assessed by an individual or by an organization.
Very good. Thank you, Mansi. It's basically understanding the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, or threats. It could relate to any concept, any feature, any department, any section, any sort of a strategy also. We could consider this on a localized or on a holistic basis, so that we need to understand. It's basically
sir, in
a
LIC,
yes, yes. Rakesh, please go ahead.
sir, in LIC, one area we use in this is specific to LIC only. The logo is strengthen your strength and weaken your weaknesses.
Oh, wow. So that's something, I mean, you have a two-prong effect where you make your strength more stronger, which you are already. And if there is any weakness, if there is any sort of perceived weakness or any sort of observed weakness, we should actually make it weaker, or we should see that it is eliminated. Fine. Very good. Thank you so much. Now we go on to the next feature, which is change management. Anyone would like to give some idea on this word change management? Yes. Someone would like to say on change management?
Actually, sir, change is the most difficult to accept, and the change management deals with this aspect of when organization is switching from one change to another, how to
Yes.
make it acceptable, easy to adopt, and why people should not feel threatened. They should feel encouraged, empowered. That is what all we deal in change management.
Correct. So Rakeshji, what you're saying is absolutely right. Change
No, I am
actually is a
just
very yes, Sahul,
I
you'd like
just
to add something?
Sir, we are in a world of a VUCA.
Yes.
Nothing is static. Everything is changing. So how to
Yes.
manage the changes with
Yes.
aligning our strategy with our strategies? That is called
Correct.
change management.
Very good. So the change actually is not without the change. I would like to just put two words, change is within. I need to change first to understand the concept. Even if the organization is changing and if I don't change, I will become a force against the organization. So to be part of the organization, to be proactive, to deliver, to strategize, to perform, I need to change myself first to be part of that system. Very difficult, of course, to implement strategies for effective change, controlling change, and helping the people to adapt to change. That's basically what it is. Now we go on to the scorecard. Kindly understand. Anyone would like to say about the scorecard, or can I go ahead
Sir,
explaining this?
scorecard, sir,
Yes, Abhay. Yes,
scorecard is
Abhay.
yes, yes. It is prepared to give due weightage to long-term and short-term short-term objectives. Actually,
Very
what
good, very
happens
good.
that in business, some CEO or some person looks into his tenure and take initiative and strategy designed to
Yes,
for
yes,
2-3 years short-term view.
yes.
So to balance it, a scorecard is prepared that we have to look into short-term goals also and long-term perspective, how to strengthen the organization so that
Yes,
in
yes.
future also we can achieve our goals.
Sure. Very nice input, Abhay. Actually, scorecard will relate to a specific term, using a lot of perspectives, understanding a lot of things, putting in a lot of money, connecting the four imperatives together, which we spoke about last time. And again, we are going to see this once the flip cards are over. So scorecard is something which is on a long term. It could connect with planning, management, organizing, communicating, budgeting, allocating, aligning, strategizing. I mean, so many things put together. You will be surprised that when you see certain scorecards of bigger organizations, we could have each of these four areas having multiple perspectives. I'm told in certain organizations like Hindustan Lever and Tata Sons, it could be as high as 20 to 40 perspectives per imperative, for the specific four areas which you're going to discuss again. basically we're going to reflect back. We have done this earlier, but we'll be reflecting back again. So I mean, this is one more question which has been coming on and off. So now we go on to the feature training plan. Any inputs on the word training plan? This has also been coming in a lot of your questions, question papers. It could come in question paper. That's my paper, paper number 1. It could come in 2. It could come in multiple repetitions all across. So what is exactly a training plan? Any inputs, please?
So, Dr. Suhas.
Yes, Murli. Yes, Murli. Go ahead.
Yes, I feel training plan is basically a strategy to align the employees of the organization to achieve the long-term as well as short-term objectives.
Very good.
So, what all the competencies are required? What all behavior changes are required?
Very good.
That has to be planned.
Very good. Very good. So in fact, I mean, I would like to just put it in a few words. Thank you so much, Murli. I mean, what you said is absolutely correct. You need to have the objectives aligned with the impacts and the outcomes. क्या चाहिए, क्या हो सकता है, लोगों को वो लूप में कैसे ले सकते हैं, and how do we add up to making them more productive or more performing. So that's basically what a training plan is all about. An organized description of activities and resources to guide a group of people or maybe a team or maybe a set of people towards a specific learning objective, provided that the outcomes are measurable. When we talk about outcomes, friends, please understand, anyone could explain the difference between the word output and outcome?
Output is always measurable, but outcome can be abstract also. It can be in form of emotions and so many other things. So outcome is a much bigger canvas than output.
Okay, so thanks Rakesh ji for this input. I would like to make it slightly crisp and easier to understand. Output is what the company expects. What the company expects from all of us, and outcome is what is supposed to be achieved for me as an employee. So mera development, mera capability enhancement would be an outcome where I am contributing partially in my job role to do something better or something useful or something beneficial for the company. So outcome is measurable in terms of employees, whereas output is more relative or more broader, and it is concerned with the organization. So with this, we'll go ahead. Familiarizing with the scorecards. Scorecards help organizations translate their strategy into objectives which drive performance and behavior. Kindly understand, scorecards are templates which may use Excel, which may use statistical tools. It may be just like, someone had told earlier, the input was there. It's basically connecting the short-term and the long-term goals. It's basically something like a huge Excel sheet where you put in a lot of data, where you put in a lot of concepts, where you put in a lot of figures, and where you start analyzing them using different metrics over a longer period of time. When you start talking about the scorecard, again, this question has been coming on and off, either in the form of a training scorecard or an HR scorecard or a workforce scorecard or a balance scorecard. I mean, either of these terms have been coming on and off. So I'm sure possibly even this time, one of those questions or something relevant to this could come in your question papers. So something which impacts behavior, something which impacts performance. Kindly understand, when you do both these things, you need to understand the 5 basic steps. Getting started, that means getting on board. So you need to have that framework in place and then go beyond. Don't worry, we will be seeing the framework so that it becomes a sort of a capsule or something which will unclog your thoughts as far as what a scorecard is. You need to map the strategy, that is aligning the strategy within the 4 parameters which are put up, and you define the measures, set the targets, align initiatives, and report. Please understand, when you're doing this, you have strategies, you have action plans, you have time limits, you have completions, you have targets, you have money coming in, you have a lot of people being aligned on various formats for various projects going towards one common objective, or maybe multiple objectives connecting to one goal for the organization. Basic components of the balanced scorecard would be perspectives. Like I told you, perspectives could have anywhere in between 25 to 40 each. various themes, various objectives, various measures, various targets, and various initiatives. So this gives you a fair representation to understand the four broad buckets which you're talking about. First is the financial, because there's nothing without money. So how do we look to the shareholders? Shareholders are basically a major component of people who are pumping in money to see that we are alive. After that, we have got the financial institutions, non-financial institutions, we have the investors, we have the supporters, we have the sponsors, multiple agencies who are pumping in money. So we need to have the financial bucket very clearly aligned. What goals, what measures? How do the customers see us? What must we excel at? We need to understand the format is statistically designed. It is spread out over gradual time periods or time phases. It is monitorable in phases. And one phase loops into the next phase. So actually these days we have the balance scorecard being aligned with the blockchain, where you could have a series of events lined up, one connecting to the other. So it's something like a chain. It's something like a necklace for that matter. You need to complete first part and then retract on to the next one and next one. You could have individual inputs and outputs, or you could carry it forward. The next is you connect it to the word customer, where again you have goals and measures. So are we satisfying the customer? The internal efficiency plus customer satisfaction would be the financial success. We need to understand a lot of money is being pumped in, a lot of customers are being reached out to, and what is the success paradigm? The internal business. Now within the system, what sort of people, what sort of processes, what sort of performance, what sort of SOPs, standard operating procedures do we have? The goals and the measures aligning. One mission, one focus, one ideation, going into different features, of course. Are we working effectively and efficiently? Connect this with innovation and learning, going a couple of steps forward, learning new things, accepting new things. I mean, you need to go beyond the normal bullock cart wheel. You need to go beyond. There has to be some sort of an innovation, some sort of a change, some sort of an application into the future. So even those things need to be done. So how we could continue to improve and create value? What are the emerging opportunities and challenges? So these four buckets spread out over a longer period of time would actually make you feel what a scorecard is. This is adopted from the original source, Kaplan and Norton, who are known to be godfathers of the scorecard. So that's basically a scorecard. Familiarizing with, in the sense, let's see the four buckets, what it could include, so that it makes life easier for us to understand. Financial would include profitability metrics, growth metrics, shareholder metrics, the shareholder values. All those things need to be put into that specific bucket. The customer would relate to the prices we are, we are setting up for them, the service what you are offering, and the quality setup. So this thing would be in a number of imperatives, a number of perspectives, a number of viewpoints aligned with people, processes, money, and many other things together. Internal business growth would relate to cycle time, productivity, and cost. So how does our process work? All our processes are having a cycle time. Cycle time is basically from the time you begin to the time we wrap up, or the time we successfully complete. The amount of money which you are pumping into the productivity, the cost factor. I mean, like for example, during COVID times, many of us may not doing any validation of business, but we are still spending a lot of money. So that cost factor is very important. Learning and growth. Muralidhar rightly pointed out competencies. We may have thousands and thousands of competencies relating to your specific job role. What sort of competency enhancement is there? What sort of competency development is there? What sort of competency mapping is there to go to the next level? The culture, the technology, the blend of human beings and technology, and going beyond. We saw that future forward video last time. So learning and growth would integrate culture and technology. Information required to develop the balanced scorecard rarely exists in one document. Now you'll be able to see where we are picking up financial information from. or certain related information. The sources of information could be part of the strategic plans, could be part of the annual budget, could be part of the operational plans, could be part of the annual report. So multiple inputs we are pulling in so that we are able to feed. So when you talk about feed, it's not just a feed, it is a feed forward which we are going to use. Types of measures are, what types of measures are we using? Absolute numbers, indices, rankings, ratios, ratings, percentages. I mean, when you talk about all those things, many of our companies are being evaluated. So even those measures or those criteria for assessments are being considered. We go on to the next popular question which appears in the question papers, a training strategy. Please do not confuse. Kindly understand it is nothing but a strategy towards training, basically to enhance knowledge, skills, abilities, attitude, and to make your performance better or desirable.
Sir,
What-
it
Yes, please.
sir,
go
it
ahead.
is also a linkage between organizational strategy and talent management.
Yes, exactly. Because your organization may have a goal, it may have certain targets, it may have certain things which they want to see in their perspective. And you as people, or I as an employee, or we all as employees would be contributing because we are the force, we are the face of the organization. So the strategy has to link the corporate culture, organizational culture, and our inputs as employees. So for you to succeed, your employee skill sets must be complete and up to date. We have a lot of tossing around, we have a lot of skill sets being changed. We have a lot of dynamics happening in the skill sets, a lot of redundancy of the old skill sets and integrating of new skill set or brushing up your skills as we call it, whether it is technical or it is functional or it is operational. Employee development is one of the most important investments you could actually make in your business. So you need to understand training strategy is impacting the business. Now we will have these guidelines. Kindly understand, I'm going to share many of these things to you. You could use this in your answers. Training strategy guideline, in the sense, just simple words to understand how you do it. Analyze your needs. This could be the first basic consideration, whether it is a small training module, it's a virtual instructor-led training, or it is a face-to-face training, or it is a LMS-enabled training. You need to analyze who you're going to train and why it is required. A specific measuring tool or a technique has to be done to understand, to analyze your needs. Next would be identifying of skill gaps. You need to understand, align, what am I required to do? What is my team supposed to reach at? What am I supposed to achieve? What is the optimum level of performance? And then you compare actuals and the standards, identify the gaps, put in the training, and see that the goals are achieved, the thresholds are achieved, the benchmarks are achieved, and the gaps are filled in. Prioritizing, you need to understand what is your priority. You may have a lot of things happening at the same time, a lot of departments, a lot of sections, a lot of people. You need to understand your priorities very specifically. What needs to be done first, what needs to be done next, what needs to be done at the last. We could use the formula of END. I'm not ending the session, friends, but we need to use the formula of END. What is END? Anyone can elaborate on END formula? Okay. It is essential, necessary, and desirable. Essential is karna hi karna hai. Priority hai, aapko karna hi karna hai. It relates not only with training, it relates with all things of priority. Essential is must do. Next is necessary. Necessary is the next level of priority. करना है लेकिन अभी नहीं करना है, थोड़े देर बाद में करेगा तो भी चलेगा. तो एसेंशियल पहले करेंगे और नेसेसरी उसके बाद करेंगे. तो दैट्स बेसिकली नेसेसरी. डिजायरेबल, करेगा तो बढ़िया है, नहीं करेगा तो थोड़े दिनों के बाद करेगा तो भी चलेगा. So that would be a desirable criteria. So all training strategy guidelines need to understand what we need to prioritize, what area we need to change, what capabilities we need to enhance, how you need to impact your staff so that their outcomes are better in terms of performance, delivery, satisfaction, moral boosting, motivating them, and all those things. So next is basically planning your training. When you use these big words, planning, kindly understand, I put it with one more word: you need to plan or else you will fail. If you fail to plan, there is no planning at all. Or if you don't plan, you have a failure. So kindly understand proper planning, proper scheduling, proper impacts, proper outcomes, proper goals, proper alignment is the need for the hour. You need to have specific set patterns for planning whatever you need to do. So that applies with training also. The delivery options. What is required? What is exactly required? Deliverables. So when I'm going to spend a lot of money, I mean, when you understand, most of you are into the HR or training or the marketing space or the operational space in your organizations, kindly understand training is not a waste of time. Training is not a firefighting exercise. Training has got a definite pattern, which is a delivery. When you talk about delivery, specifically, people understand talking in terms of return on training investment or return on investment. It's not just calculating figures and saying ye hona hai ya ye hoga. We need to be very clear. A lot of money is being spent on this deliverable. So we need to impact it in the right manner. Budget. How much of money? Kindly understand, when you're talking about training, we are aligning people for a specific module or a mode of training where you are spending on them. Maybe those people at that point of training may not exactly be productive or may not be exactly aligned to your company goals or objectives, but you're still spending, assuming और अंडरस्टैंडिंग द रिक्वायरमेंट, उसको डेवलप करने से वो आगे उसका परफॉर्मेंस अच्छा होगा, एनहांसमेंट होगा तो डेवलपमेंट होगा, कंपनी की तरक्की होगी उसके साथ साथ. सो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड स्पेसिफिकली इन टर्म्स ऑफ man hours being utilized. You need to understand in terms of the total man hours being utilized, the amount of money being spent, and all those things. Analyze training efforts and their impact. Metrics, tools, using of Kirkpatrick at every level is very important to understand their impact, to go stepwise. If you are having some sort of a failure at any one level, it doesn't mean withdrawal. It means doing it better and then only going to the next step. There is no shortcut. There is no, I mean, we don't use the game of chess here. We have a specific synchronized mode. We do not checkmate our processes. We align and we loop in all the processes together to deliver. So that's basically what it is. Analyzing of training efforts. करना जरूरी है क्या? या नहीं करते तो भी चलता? Is it really avoidable? Is it really mandatory? You will understand a lot of organizations, including even smaller startups, are going into the analyzing of training efforts because a lot of compliances are coming through, a lot of conditions are being worked out, a lot of requirements from the industry, associations, governments, competitors, stakeholders, competitors, all those things are happening. That space is actually very, very I mean, it's very complex. So, I mean, these are certain guidelines, these are given in certain details, which you need to understand. Give me 1 minute, please. Sorry for the interruption. I had to go on to a different internet provider because that was showing some variance and that indication was available. You all are still able to hear me clearly?
Yes, yes,
okay,
you're audible.
Okay, great. Because in between there was instability, so I had to do that. Fine. So these are the same guidelines which are in absolute slight crisp ways of which we will not exactly deal with, because every area we have done when we saw the flipping of the icons. So analyzing your needs, identifying of skill gaps, prioritizing, planning and delivering of training, delivery options, budgeting, okay, analyzing of training efforts and impacts, and thinking on long term. Okay, So when you talk about long term, actually it should be any sort of a training means a lot of money, a lot of man hours. So minimum 2 months and beyond should be your target. Otherwise, you will not be able to do any difference. Now we go on to the second most powerful area, strategic organizational change, which has also been coming in your question papers on and off again and again. What is organizational change? Organizations face a change, such as launching a new product or a restructuring. Now, when you say launching a new product, it brings a lot of challenges to HR and the operational departments. You will need to align a different workforce which aligns with that new product. Maybe new people coming out, maybe existing people being trained to work, understand and deliver, market, sell, manufacture that new product. So you have a complete restructuring. So the person may be same, but that change has to come through. Strategic change management is the process of managing change in a very structured, thoughtful way in order to meet the organizational goals, objectives, and missions. We will not repeat these last three words because we have done this in detail in the earlier sessions. The main external triggers for change consist of government laws and regulations. We have a lot of regulations coming in, a lot of government laws. Even during COVID, so many things are coming in again and again, and the impacts are very different. We need to tweak very often. Globalization of markets and internalization of the business, major political and social events, advances in technology, organizational growth and expansion, and fluctuations in business cycles. You may have your product being sold at the peak levels, and you may have your product being not sold at all. Depending on the requirements, you need to rejig the whole cycle. You need to remove that clogging and go to the next level. Now let's see this. It's basically an organizational change process which we need to do in stepwise. Diagnose the need for change. It's basically all of us need to understand as people in the training arena or the training domain, as facilitators, trainers, managers, leaders, L&D people, HR people, operational people, anyone for that matter, whoever is in a leadership role or leader or part of the leadership process for that matter, part of the transformation process needs to do the diagnostics. Diagnostics is becoming like a doctor. You need to understand the requirement of change. Step 2, stakeholder analysis. Understand. You need to put a canvas and start plotting. You could use computer tools, statistical tools, metrics, or even you just draw it on a chart paper and then put the final print on a storyboard, which could be ignited through technology. So that possibility is there. You need to understand all stakeholders, government, competitors, customers. We have certain critics, we have certain associations, we have certain industry platforms, considering everyone for that matter. Anyone knows the story of Maruti many years back? Okay, giving an example, I will not go into details. Maruti was the most ineffective company once upon a time. It was in the process of selling second-hand or sourced vehicles from abroad. Gradually, the strategy changed when Maruti aligned itself with Suzuki and they developed a model of offering you passenger-friendly or customer-friendly cars in various modes and models. So now the challenge was, how do we do it? How do we go in from the area of selling second-hand vehicles into a brand new area, aligning with a major, that is Suzuki, and impact the space. So they bought out variants, they bought out different categories, they created a value statement, and their value statement was very simple. Anywhere in the country, if your Maruti car has a problem, has got a technical problem, spares and technical support is easily available. Multiple vendor coverages were there, and people used to depend on Maruti. Various variants, right from the simple variant to the most complex and the costly variants, you could get your Maruti running again if it stops in between. So that was the level of stakeholder analysis where they gave a complete brand management, a complete changeover, a complete process orientation, accepting of foreign technology, embedding it into the system, having the right people in the loop, and then going beyond. So step 3 would be igniting change. You have to have that spark कि कुछ करना है, कुछ देना है. Step 4 is creating the change, network and building of teams. You need to have people working in teams, working in projects, irrespective of age barriers, irrespective of philosophy, irrespective of culture, irrespective of diversity. We need to have one vision to create change, network, develop in the interest of the organization. Preparing and executing the change management plan. We need to have the pin-ups in place. We need to have the focus areas well planned and see that the change management goes into a smart rollover again beyond the normal. Identifying and managing the resistance. We need to clamp the resistances and still go beyond. I would like to appreciate here e-commerce, pharma, and some manufacturing units have put a lot of brakes on the normal process of COVID and have started identifying the areas for offering value, offering manufacturing, offering service, offering seamless connectivity with a lot of hiccups in between. I'm talking about during COVID times, but it's still happening. And of course, going into the successful change program, you need to do all these steps in a categorical manner, either using a tool or even a bigger chart paper, and then finally transmitting it to your dashboards. What are OD interventions? This question has also been repeatedly coming. OD interventions are building blocks which are planned activities to improve organizational functioning. Simple OD interventions could include team development, lab-based training, managerial grid training, brainstorming, intergroup training. You put multiple people together, you use a specific intervention. Intervention, if I give you the simple example, OD intervention, you could take a broad hint from any teaching for that matter in school. A school teacher imposing a format for the students to follow. That is a deep intervention which the teacher has done on the student, and the students would basically study or do that activities or that exercises. So it's something like that. Engaging people all across, developing teams, lab-based training, simulations, grid-based training, brainstorming, intergroup, so that we come with different ideas, but it will percolate to one theme which identifies with our group culture or our organization culture. Intervention should take place at the individual, group, and organization level. It is partly related. I represent a group or a team, and my team with other teams represent our organization. We will not create the bifurcation except for the salary purpose or for gradation purpose or for performance purpose, it's okay. But for all other purposes, we represent as one group or one team or one force which is representing the organization. OD intervention refers to planned programmatic activities. Client and consultants may participate. We have wonderful people who could actually be part of this process. We could have consultants who could come and facilitate the whole process without being part of the process. It's a sequence of activities, actions, and events intended to help an organization to improve its performance and effectiveness. We have a couple of formats in this. Basically, behavioral techniques are the first one. It's sensitivity training, the first one, which is most popular. It's known as T groups, where we learn about themselves. People learn about themselves through their interactions using feedback, problem solving, role playing to gain the insight into themselves other than groups. This is being followed right from decades. I mean, I have been using this technique almost 20-25 years back as a T group. So this sensitization is basically to develop yourself and be a better person in your team or in your group, and then gradually impact the community, society, organization, whatsoever. Role playing, when you talk about role playing, you use a real life situation or you use an identical situation in a parallel organization, maybe a different domain. You do changeovers, you do role plays, and you do changeovers. In the sense, when you talk about changeovers, changeover means you enact the role of and going into the role which you're not done. Like, for example, I'm a manager and you're a supervisor, and the role plays in between the manager and the supervisor. So I'm the manager, you're the supervisor. So gradually the next mode would be reversal of roles. You be the manager and I become the supervisor. So we will get a perspective to understand how I would perform and how you would perform given the same role. So interchanging of roles or changeover of roles would give a different flavor to the concept of role playing. The third one is management by objectives, MBOs, very familiar, where we have the complete strategy or the action plans or things which you have decided to be understood in the format of objectives. We break them into smaller levels and focus it or align it with individual objectives and check, monitor, measure individually, so that each objective, whether it is being attained or it is being taken care of, or the performance is aligning with that specific objectives, can be measured. So it is indirectly related as MBR or management by results. The next one is non-behavioral techniques, where we have organizational redesign, where you have a complete changeover. I mean, this normally would happen in the case of an amalgamation or a takeover or something like that. Suddenly you find your CEO has changed. Suddenly you find your top deck has changed. So you have to integrate into that system. You have to go into that transition mode and redesign, use new strategies, new instructions, new standard operating procedures, new pattern of authorities, changes, functional responsibilities which may come across. Work design, process of defining tasks and jobs to achieve both organizational and employee goals. So this again needs to be done. Like for example, most of our work is undergoing a lot of change. This COVID itself has given you a different dimension of designing your work in a different manner or a different pattern. Most of us have gone online or in the virtual mode. So work designing or work redesigning is also happening continuously at the employee level and organizational level. The third is job enrichment, upgrading the responsibility, scope and challenge in work. I don't know how many of you have got that WhatsApp input developed by one of the consulting organizations and IT organizations. 21 different roles in the field of HR we can expect in the next 3 to 5 years. So anyway, in case you have not got it, I will be sharing it on the WhatsApp group. Now we have the third one coming in, miscellaneous techniques. Survey feedback. It's basically using of questions, doing surveys, having interviews and understanding people with specific tools and techniques to bring about change in the attitude and perception. It is doctored, it is proctored, it is monitored, it is engaged, it is influenced to a certain extent, where feedback will be a pattern for the feed forward. In my interest, when I'm talking about myself as an organization and I'm being part of the top deck, process consultation concentrates on certain specific areas like communication, functional roles of members, group problem solving, decision making, group norms, leadership and authority, intergroup cooperation and competition, and many of these things. Team building is diagnosing and improving the effectiveness of a work group with particular attention to the work procedures and interpersonal relationships. I think most of these terms are quite simple for us to understand. OD interventions, you're able to understand the same things actually are put in the form of a image or a picture just for representational purposes. So you could actually understand. We have covered most of this. Okay, examples again. I mean, this is again talking about strategic management activities, life and career planning, planning and goal setting, coaching and counseling, organizational transformation, third-party peacemaking, grid organization. You have multiple types of OD interventions, maybe behavioral, maybe non-behavioral, maybe miscellaneous, maybe a blend, which experts, OD consultants, the top deck, CEOs, external agencies, internal agencies, strategic experts. I mean, to an extent, you'll be surprised. I mean, this has been used in the hospitality and retail, where, for example, I've joined the organization as a line manager. I've joined as a line manager in one of the hotel chains, for example, Tata. Tata has got the group of hotels which is known as Taj Group of Hotels. Now, to make me better, and once they've identified me into the talent pipeline for the next level, they send me to the Oberoi's, or they send me to the Hyatt, or they send me to the Marriott, or they send me to a different hotel, and I need to work in that organization, pick up that culture, pick up strategies. That could be a specific level of intervention which my Taj management has decided that Suhas would fit into this role the moment he comes back after the extended competitor based engagement which I'm going to do. So I'm going to report in a different organization, but my payment will be done by Taj. I'll be working with Oberoi's. I'll be picking up this culture. So all these sort of things are happening. Hindustan Lever people working with Godrej people going to Hindustan Lever, all those things, multiple exchanges are happening. So that could be a very specific type of OD intervention, which is there. I thought this was interesting. So that's why I put this Blake and Mouton leadership grid, where we actually have two levels. One is the task concern and the people concern, where we have a grid which is created and we have certain people to understand the process. When you talk about team manager, which is supposed to be very good, I mean, he or she is high on people and high on task, and a very good performer, very good motivator. I mean, he's an excellent person for that matter. Then we have the country club manager. Country club manager is basically a manager who's high on people. I mean, people love him. People love him. People like him. People are very fond of him. But then low on task. He is not able to deliver as per the expectations. Actually, he could be considered sometimes as a misfit. But proper training and proper alignment may improve. The third one is the impoverished manager. This guy is low on people, low on task. He is actually a dead expense. Dead expense in terms of HR. यानी ये बंदा सैलरी ले रहा है, कुछ भी काम भी नहीं कर रहा है, मोटिवेट भी नहीं कर रहा है, कुर्सी में भी बैठा हुआ नहीं है. He's not doing anything. वैसे ही रिटायर भी होता है. So, I mean, there are some people who fall into this. We should avoid the impoverished manager category. The fourth one is authority and obedience manager, who could be low on people but high on task. This guy is follow the rule book, follow the bosses, and he sees that obedience or authority. He may get into a bigger role, but then he is not liked by juniors or subordinates. And there is this guy in between, middle of the road. This guy is a jack of all trades. He's medium on people and medium on task, but a bit of polishing would improve him in boosting people's morale as well as make him improve the work performance. Now we go on to another area where we talk about startups. This was another question which was asked in one of the question papers. We will just reflect it. I put in simple diagrams so it will be easier for you to understand. You start at a specific area, you have an idea, so that starts germinating, the ideation is there, and you have the testing of the idea for potential. You need to do a detailed study, understand, talk to people, talk to your competitors, ask for opinions, whatever, ask for validation, create a business plan. Either you do it yourself, or else there are professional agencies or even government agencies which could help you in creating a business plan. They could put you in the incubator mode. Find funding to kick it off. Now, this is a very peculiar trend which is being observed throughout the world. If you would take a reference to Bengaluru, Bengaluru is known as the capital of sick startups. 80% of the startups in Bangalore are declared sick. But if you see their financial status, they are all financially loaded. Even though they are making losses, operations are curtailed, but still they are cash rich, because a lot of investment is coming through various sources, domestic and international, and they may actually go in for a changeover or aligning with a different brand for that matter. They create a great business branding. You need to have that impact. I'm going to do something different. Think of Oyo Rooms, think of Ola. I mean, all these are all different concepts where you could actually have a great business branding and you could impact the market. Define the best business structure. If you observe some of these startup stories, you have the best of the people working with them, germinating with them, investing time, investing intellectual capital, multiple things. 6 is securing the rights for my business, in the sense getting the laws, licenses, permissions, subsidies, sanctions, whatever, Get a shop front, online, physical. Now you need to go into the delivery mode, because karna kya hai, kaise karna hai, and check if I need to have a license to operate. Every area might have a different challenge. You may have a license to operate in Mumbai. What happens in Bangalore? What happens in Chennai? What happens in Guwahati? What happens in Tirunelveli? You need to understand whether you have a license to deliver there. Hire your first employee. Now, when you talk about your first employee, you are the first employee, actually. But then gradually, once you have 3 or 4 people, like-minded people together, you can hire your first employee who's actually going to do the routine process or the meticulous formats into the functional mode. Network for support or advice. Sorry. So you need to have a broad network of like-minded people, people from different organizations who will give you advice for free, and then open for business. Your business plan could have the timeline, summary, mission statement, company background, product description, marketing plan, competitor analysis, SWOT analysis, operations. Of course, everything needs to be in the loop to understand what you deliver. This is quite common. This is quite elaborate in the form of projects or documents when you talk about the technical feasibility or the financial viability, whether it's a small startup, even if you want to do a small business or making achar at home or papads at home, or do something huge, you will need to have this sort of indicators to consider. Now we'll go on to the we'll go on to a crossword, and we'll try to understand how things are. So the first word is improvements. Some of you all can, I mean, of course, I'll not give you much of time. Is anyone able to see the word improvement somewhere?
Third last.
Third last.
Third
Okay.
last line.
Okay, let's see. Oh, wow, that's good. Who was this?
Sarisha.
Okay, Isha, very good. Thank you so much. Improvements in the third last line. Very good. We have got a sharp capturing, because I told you the time limit. I'm not going to give much of time, but still you all did it. Next is, I will do it, anticipation. Anticipation of doing a lot of things, you know. So this was in a different format. That's why I put it. The third one is excitement. Can anyone focus or identify which line or which row excitement is there?
There it is. For anticipation, from it, where T is there in the same row at the end.
Okay, let's say this. Excitement. Yes, very good. Thank you, Isha. Thank you once again. So now we go on to the next part. This is like a quiz actually, just to make your mind sharp. All of you are sharp, definitely, but still. Next is the initiation, the start. You know, गाड़ी को kick करना है.
It's
Second
below
last.
improvements.
Oh wow,
Below
Isha,
improvement.
Urvashi, all talking at the same time. Let's see where it is. Yes, it's below the improvement. Very good. Now we have the management. Yes, inputs. Come
Sir,
on, guys.
top.
Come on, guys.
Top.
Guys. All the
एकदम
girls
top
are
पे
doing
है
the
sir,
talking.
after J.
Okay, that's good. Still the ladies are in the front. Very good. So ladies will always lead from the front. Huh? I'm happy. Congratulations to all of you. Okay, so now next we go on to challenges.
Sir, a line above excitement. So where T is written, no? So
Okay.
above that, challenges.
Okay, thank you, Urvashi. So that's challenges. Read it backwards. Read it backwards so that you'll be able to understand. Okay. Next is accomplishments. Where are accomplishments?
Below
Oh, wow.
excitement.
Still the ladies are ruling the rooster. Very good. Okay. Accomplishments. And the last one, all of you are successful professionals, and I wish that all of you will be successful in your respective businesses. Where is the word success?
Sir, it's on the fourth from the left.
Okay, so success again written in a different way to confuse you. So that's basically success. I mean, it's the total crossword game has been solved by the ladies. Congratulations. Okay, we have the SWOT analysis just to understand strengths. Basically, I have put it in the HR perspective so that you understand. It could be low salaries. It could be quick to respond to markets. It could be lightweight and flat hierarchies where you have, you know, flat organizations. We don't have all those managerial hierarchies now these days. Okay. Weaknesses would be existing workload is high, no previous project planning, missing the expertise. Opportunities would be, I'm going slightly faster so that we can see the other things also. Opportunities is need to increase the market share, could convert existing products to the new markets. Threats is business partners have little loyalty, large competitors, cost of technology. So strengths could be employee branding, compensation philosophy, turnover management. Anyone could tell what is OHS? This is the most neglected area in India, but in Europe, it's very high. Occupational health and safety. Occupational health and safety, the way you sit, the furniture, the lighting, the washrooms, the pantry facilities, the amount of air conditioning, the temperature control, the washrooms, all those things would be part of the occupational health and safety standards, which is actually a norm and which is being bought by European and foreign organizations into India. Weaknesses is bad employee reputation, high turnover, lack of training. Opportunities could include new technology, favorable employment laws, employee need analysis. Threats could be stricter employee laws and litigious. What is litigious? People who are ready to take you to court at the drop of a hat. There are a lot of these people who challenge the company, who challenge the process, who challenge every possible thing and try to bring in a disruption. Okay, so now let's see how we can do the customer value proposition. It needs to be distinctive, it needs to be measurable, it needs to be sustainable, it needs to identify barriers, and customer research shows that firm should have functional value, cost value, relationship value, co-creation value, and the open source brand value. This is for the customer value proposition. These are all marketing terms, but we have been identified to add value as humans or as the human potential, human capital contributing for various disciplines which you are working in. Functional values could relate to product attributes relating to cost, quality, reliability, security, performance. The cost would be defined to give the evaluation on what they will get in return for what they give. Relationship value would be the overall customer experience relating to quality, service support, delivery performance, time to market, supplier know-how, personal interaction, price and process. Co-creation would be pursued as modifying the available source code or defining the requirements, allowing for further customizing to meet the customer needs. Open source would be referring to the value that customers perceive in the open source brand itself. Just a nugget on customer value proposition: should be clear and easy to understand, should convey the results, should be a differentiator for their products and services, should be easy to grasp, should not be a slogan or positioning statement only. It should have a headline, a sub-headline, bullet points, and something visual like a video. I mean, I found this quite nice as a customer value proposition by WeWork. It gives you an indication of the different areas. It gives you a feel about the brand, about what you could be if you are part of the WeWork, whether it's a location or a workspace or an enterprise or a lab. Irrespective of the space, they give you a feel, and they're given a connect feature by giving you a scroll out option by identifying areas and putting in certain more filters about the employee limit and all, and accordingly possibly they could take it to the next level. Okay, so now going on to the word plan, because we spoke about the training plan and all that, we need to understand planning is very important for teamwork, strategy, vision, task, team, analysis, development, quality, control, organizing, and things like that. Crafting a training plan, very successful in training. We need, this question has been coming on and off. Understand what training is, the goals. Do proper training need identification and analysis. Find best manner to train your learners. Outcomes are very important, not the output. Outcomes first, output next. Know why your training is directed, who your training is directed, and why it is being done. The understanding of the 5 questions basically is very important. So we take the who and the why, and then we can understand the how and all those things. Design and develop a detailed blueprint. Training plans need to be smaller, routine chunks rather than improper blips. We will not do it as just one engagement or one exercise. We need to do it in routine chunks so that we are enhancing, we are going to the next level. Adopt a learning and development culture at your company to prompt all employees to seek personal and professional advancement. Training plans, when thoughtfully implemented, are the cornerstone of any company success. Systematic training plan identifies learning activities or methods needed to achieve the learning objectives and overall training goals. You are able to hear the music?
No, music.
Okay, fine. In any case, fine. Let's go ahead because we're cutting short on time, not to worry. Change management is the process, tools, and techniques to manage the people side of change to achieve a required business outcome. Any change to the organization you're ultimately going to impacting is the 4 areas: the processes, systems, organizational structure, and the job roles. We have the change management. I found this very nice. change management relating to planning for change, managing of change, and reinforcing of change in the individual mode, in the communication mode, sponsorship mode, coaching mode, training mode, and the resistance mode. Change management is going to be successful by building up support, addressing of resistance, developing of required knowledge, and the ability to implement the change, managing the people side. So when you see that arrow, it goes from current to the transition phase to the future. That's what change management is all about. A snapshot of OD in organizations is basically boosting the quality of employee outcome, perpetually improving the organization, enhancing the quality of products and services, enhancing the competitive edge, and increasing the profits. So friends, what we'll do is we will stop this screen share and we'll do the other share now. We'll go on to the case studies. So here you are able to hear the sound?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, so what we'll do is, yes, two things I can do. I can see on my screen. So let me see. I think I'll play the video as usual because I like to play videos at the last so that it doesn't disturb the presentation. And then we will see the sample balance scorecard. I don't know how many shares are permitted, but let's go on to the video first.
It is not audible.
Is it?
Sir, last
Now?
last question.
Is it audible
Yes.
now? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't try this.
I can do this.
Okay, let me show, let me see whether I. Let me show whether I can show you the last screen share. This is how template of the scorecard looks like? You're putting in the perspectives, you're putting in the figures, you're putting in so many things. This is basically of a hospital, but I found it very nice. So it has got a time span. It's quite an old one. A lot of progression has happened. A lot of changes have happened. But this is something what is actually available. So either you could use Excel tools, or you could use statistical tools and create this scorecard so that you're able to understand whether you're on the same page and whether you're actually delivering, whether you're actually performing, whether you're actually achieving the goals, whether your strategies are actionable. All those things are understood when you have this sort of a scorecard. So I think this gives you an idea, and I'm able to do justice to your this thing. And now I think I could take certain questions. I think I would request, when you're asking questions or when we are interacting, possibly we could put your videos on so that at least we are able to see and interact. Of course, we can still have all of you all on video. There's absolutely no problem as such. Yes, so we can, any questions, anything you need to ask?
Sir, while we have to
yes, yes,
strategy related question. So
yes.
We will give illustrate what means Porter's 5 forces or balance.
See, Abhay, I mean, what I think
one or two or many means I wanted to know that
yes,
at the time of answering such question,
sure,
should we describe only 1 or 2 or say 3, 4, 5?
No, what you can do is it all depend upon, see, normally how the questions have come. Some of them have come in the theoretical format where they have said, explain to us what is training strategy, explain to us what is transformation strategy. In case if that is coming, then it's basically only an explanatory mode. And if you could still relate it with some sort of a case or a scenario or some sort of an instance in your company, if you're able to do it, great. You can conceal the name of the employee, you can conceal the name of your company, you can put it as ABC, XYZ or something like that, absolutely nothing to worry. In certain other cases in the question papers, they've asked, as a training manager of ABC retail or whatever, kindly create a training strategy document for that matter. If they say like this, then you go into that role of a training manager of that ABC retail, and then you say that training strategy is so and so, the pointers are so and so for making the training strategy so and so, and this is the training strategy which we are done. Okay, so you need to nicely phase it out into smaller paragraphs, put bullet points, and then explain or validate your statement. So does that answer? You may support it with one model or yes, Abhay. Yes, Abhay. You may support it with one model or more models.
That is why I wanted that. Whether we use concept, whatever you taught.
And one more thing, Abhay, and others, there has been one question somewhere I'm not able to reflect either of these 3 papers which I already shared with you all. If you want, I'll be able to reshare it again, not to worry, in your WhatsApp group. Discuss different models. Discuss different models. So now when there is a question, for example, see, now it's going to be an online exam. I really do not know the structure. Let us wait for the next 3-4 days. That is the 14th and 15th, which they have promised that they are going to share details, or maybe even slightly later. Earlier, the questions used to be 8 marks or 10 marks or 9 marks or 18 marks, something like that. So when we had that, we would be able to understand ki kitne model cover karne hain. So in case it's 18 marks or 20 marks, so I would definitely say that you need to tell what the model is useful for and explain maybe 3 or 4 models and maybe an application here and there relevant to your company. So if they have asked models, then you need to ask. You need to put specifically more than one model, at least 3 or 4, which will make it more relevant. Yes, okay. Rakesh, you wanted to ask something?
Yes, sir. This will be first time that this new model is there, and last 32 years I am with TA. So okay. For me, it will be a great challenge to learn all this cut paste and other things, diagrams, these things. So I will request you to have a lecture on that also.
Okay, we can keep it offline. We can keep it offline. Let the instructions come. Achha, now there is a very peculiar trend which I have observed actually.